Hey, we are live and I am trying to share it in all the relevant places. How are you, Lauren?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I think I'm okay. Yeah. We
Yeah.
live in a wacky, crazy world right now. And
Yeah.
it's it's difficult to traverse sometimes.
Yep. Yeah. There's like no response that seems correct. It's like, I don't want to be pessimistic. I want to be hopeful, but also
Right.
we live in a hellscape.
We unfortunately do. I don't know what's up with that. America
Hmm.
seems to want to not pay attention to
No.
the
Yeah.
history in the past.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think
Speaking of hellscapes,
speaking of hell, that was like a professional. Um, yeah, okay, so you've been on the show before. For those that don't know, Lauren, you're an author and you are now in seminary, right?
I am. Yeah. A huge plot twist.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah. I wrote a book
and
about deconstructing my faith, and somehow that landed me in seminary.
well, that's yeah. So I joke that like I I deconstructed my faith and walked away from the church and then decided to write like 15 books about,
Yep.
theology and Jesus and the church and nationalism and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I love irony,
I
you
know.
know?
Ain't that
I,
just the way?
yeah, that seems to be the way things go. Yeah, so, well, okay, so we've talked about The Last of Us before. And for those that don't know, I'm writing or have written a book on The Last of Us, and you wrote the foreword, and it's now with my editor.
Yay. Yay.
And so well, okay, so why would we write about a video game? Why is it relevant? Why do
Yes.
we care?
And I feel like for like in the behind the scenes look, which I only had like a smidge of, but I feel like this poured out of you. Like I feel like you wrote this in a crazy amount of time, like a short amount of time. So like
Yeah, I
what
did.
what was that? What drew you into writing about this so ferociously?
I mean, yeah, you're right. It was probably is it the quickest I've written a book? I wrote I mean, it took a lot of time, but I just spent so much time doing it. Like
Mhm.
but in terms of like how many months it took, it did kind of pour out of me. I don't sometimes it's hard to explain, like a story just captivates you in such a way, and there's so much depth and there's so much relevance that it was like, oh, I think we truly are in an apocalyptic time. And I don't mean that
Mhm.
necessarily in like in the way some Christians might think of the apocalypse, but in terms of like an unveiling, an ending of something. And it seems like we're
Mhm.
there as a species. Like it's the end of the old ways, whatever that
Yeah.
means. And there's going
Mhm.
to be a transition period and there's going to be a new way of moving forward, if at all, because what we've done up to this point is not sustainable.
Right.
And I don't want to be like too dramatic and say, oh, I'm writing against some sort of clock that's about to run out.
Right.
But
Yeah, yeah.
it kind of seems true. Like, I mean, like between fascism and authoritarianism and war and climate change, we do seem up against that kind of clock. And The Last of Us is a story that lives within a world that like tragedy strikes and it fundamentally changes the entire world forever.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we're kind of at that point. No, it's not as dramatic as like in one day this happens,
Mhm.
but don't you feel like we're kind of on the precipice of like an unveiling of something new?
I do. Yeah, I do feel like that as well. I feel like that is true on like multiple layers. I feel like it's true, for us just as a species in our world. And then I also feel like I'm seeing it in like these micro justice sub genres, if you will. Like I feel like we're seeing that in like gender justice and economic justice and like all of these little places there are like these micro apocalypses happening as well, which is frightening. But it also, like you're saying, this is about an unveiling that has to happen. This is about like maybe a rebalancing that has been inevitable for a long time.
Yeah, and I feel like if we could actually pay attention to the good art that those some of us make, um, then we can get to like the truth of the matter, like whether
Mhm.
it's a video game, whether it's music, whether it's painting, you know, if it could be Kendrick Lamar, Rage Against the Machine, or Bob Dylan, or it could be Banksy, or it could be The
Yeah.
Last of Us and Neil Druckmann, and it can be people who are like, they're not afraid to like push the boundaries of, okay, well, we believe this about ourselves. Let's test this out. How
Mhm.
good are we really?
Yeah.
How evil are we really? Like,
Mhm.
let's throw someone in the mixer and see how their morality stands up when faced with, you know, whatever. And the last
Mhm.
is like, well, we're gonna do the craziest shit ever. And for those of us who haven't, or for those who haven't played, like there, I'm sure we'll get into some spoilers for sure. So if you plan on playing the game or watching the show, I'm not sure what they're going to do in the show, so I can't really speak on that as much. But um, yeah, there will be spoilers for the game. If you haven't played it yet, like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, I say that
Yeah.
like with Tolkien sometimes. I'm like, spoilers ahead. I'm like, well, the books came out like 70 years ago,
Yeah.
so that's kind of on
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So actually that's a good segue because this is one of my favorite things to do is to ask people what they like in their own words what a story is about because I
Mm.
feel like in recounting and like make creating a synopsis for a story, we reveal what it means to us. So I wanted to ask you, what is the story of The Last of Us about?
Oh wow. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because there's a lot of stories within the Last of Us universe, right? Like, I think if we're really reductive and we follow Neil Druckmann and what he said, like the first part is about love, and the second part is about hatred or vengeance.
Mhm.
But I think that, like, even the second part, which is about vengeance, it is about the cycle of violence. I think it's also about love too, and you realize what I've what I spent a lot of time writing about in the book is like love is love is not one to be messed with lightly. Like, it's a powerful force. And so I think like we can do horrible shit in the name of love. Like, we could do
Yeah.
absolutely terrible things in the name of love, depending on, even if our love is pure and noble. Like, so I think the story is about really test again, I think the story is about testing the bounds of like the theoretical things we say
Mm.
about our think, or even the things we think about ourselves. Like, I think it tests the boundaries, and hopefully in that we get a new level of empathy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
um
stories like that too because when you sit comfy in your developed world
yeah.
reality, it's very easy to have high-minded morals, but when you are thrust into some of the situations that we see Joel and Ellie and these other characters as they're actually going through, it makes you wonder like is more like what is morality in this context when there
Yeah.
is actually very high stakes and it actually like requires a lot of you to stick by those.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very challenging game. Right now I'm through my the playthrough that I said I was going to do after I wrote the book, and I'm still in day one of Abby.
Okay.
I forgot how long you played. Like, I know the story a lot better than the actual like level by level of part two. And I forgot how long you played as Ellie in Seattle, like how long that was before you even
Mhm.
get to playing as Abby. Of course, you play as Abby in the like prologue or whatever, but when you go on that Seattle trip, you really play a long time, and you get up to that point where it's like, oh shit, I forgot. Am I gonna? I was like, I thought I played this. Oh, so this is where it cuts off and switches to Abby, and
Mhm.
then you reconnect all those dots. You know what really got me?
Tell me.
When you kill Alice,
Oh, yeah.
the dog, and then you
The dog.
don't realize it's the fucking dog that you're like you kill the dog and you just don't think anything of it anymore because you've had to
Mhm.
kill dogs in this game so far.
Yeah,
Which is not
often.
often. Like, there's a lot of dogs that you have to kill, and then you don't realize it until you play as Abby and you play through, and then you realize what dog you killed. You're like, oh fuck.
Yes, they hit you with that right out the gate, I feel like,
Yeah.
because you've just played Ellie, And I remember the first time feeling huge relief when Alice was dead, because it was like this element coming out of like kind of
Hmm.
left field, and it's this unpredictable, vicious thing. So when
Yeah.
you kill Alice as Ellie, you're like relieved. But
Yeah.
then right then, or not long after that, they switch you to Abby, and they're like,
Yeah.
"We're gonna go see the dogs now, and you're
Yeah.
playing
And
catch, and
you're
you're."
playing catch. Oh my God.
Yeah. So they kind of let you know what you're in for the rest of the game, like right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Yeah. And you really took like you and I don't want to say differ in terms of how we view the overall point of these stories, but in terms of who you resonate with, you are, I mean, if you had to differentiate Team Abby and I am Team Ellie, though, I mean, with an asterisk probably between, or by both of our
For sure. Yeah.
allegiances.
Yeah, I mean, Joel's death is always just gut-wrenching. I
I
mean,
can't.
and you hate her. You hate her. Like, I
Yeah.
was there. I was 100% there. I think what allowed me to resonate with her is like, and this is not like a secret. Anyone who's played through the games knows that Abby and Joel are like the same character. They go on the same arc where
Yeah.
they find this underdog that they initially dislike, to the point of like, I don't want anything to do with this person. They grow and they become like this protector. And I
Mhm.
think the reason why Abby resonated so much with me was because we get to see her kind of finish that arc in a different way from Joel. And I think that, well, without doing like too many spoilers, but I
Yeah.
don't know, I think that her arc just really, really resonated with me. And it was something that I wanted to see from Joel.
Mhm.
Um, which in part one, we don't get that. He kind of makes an opposite decision
Yeah.
in the hospital.
Joel really, yeah, and Joel really like he really botches that whole thing. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about like I don't have any I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, that's the thing, is
I
you can't
mean,
judge him.
I can't, but it's like, dude, you could have lied better than that.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, what was that? That was bad. That was
Like,
really
we know
bad,
you
dude.
can be
Like,
sneaky. Why couldn't you have been sneaky
yeah,
somehow? Or
this was terrible.
Mhm.
Because it's like I can't put myself, and this is where empathy kind of gets me in trouble too sometimes. I'm like, and Marlene almost gets to that point. We see it in part two, but it's flashing back to what would have been the events of part one. And she's like, and she straight up asks him twice and never gets an answer. If it were your daughter, if it were Abby, and he can't
Right.
answer it, and then Abby comes in with dinner and he never answers it, and then he goes in and does surgery. I that to me is that would made me as mad as like at Dr. Anderson as when Abby kills Joel.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like for a fact that you could not do this. Like if Dr. Anderson is in Joel's situation, he would do exactly what Joel did.
Yeah.
And he
And
knows
vice
that.
versa too. I think vice
Right.
versa. Joel would have done anything to save Ellie.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And when Abby tells, if it were me, I'd want you to do it. Abby can say that to her dad, but her dad cannot say that I would do it
Right.
because there's 0% chance that the dad would do that. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going to sacrifice my own daughter for no. As I say in the book, like as far as my personal experiences as a dad, I would mortgage the entire universe for my daughter. So
Yeah.
I can't say otherwise. So that gets into the whole thing. Like, well, what about your freedom of choice? What about your? It's like I can't. Like I don't have whatever it would be. That'd be like yes. I mean, I could sacrifice me, but I can't
Mhm.
sacrifice my daughter. So that's what's hard for. I almost see it like through Joel's eyes, and so I can't. Not that I'd want Ellie to go on a vengeance tour, and I don't think Joel would either.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's what Joel would have wanted for Ellie.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to what you said initially. Like, love is can be a very scary thing. Love is like a crazy, crazy force.
Yes.
Um, and I think a lot of this whole story is the storyteller is kind of like dropping in elements like, okay, what does love look like under these situations, these
Hmm.
circumstances, and in these situations, and what will people do? Like, what lengths do you
Hmm.
go to?
Yeah. Yeah. And what it teaches us is we often go to lengths that destroy ourselves, which is what the person like I don't. I mean, knowing how Abby gets kind of destroyed by her own choices would break her dad's heart. Knowing it would break Joel's heart to see what Ellie does in the name of loving Joel.
Yeah.
In part 2, and that's the irony, is that we wouldn't want, like, it's like our gut instinct is, yeah, take vengeance and go get justice. It's like, is that justice though? Like,
Right.
and the game really fucks us up with that. It fucks us up in all the little ways too. I love all the little things. Like every NPC has a name, and you blow their ass up, and people are like, "Hey, Tommy, where are you?"
And
I
if
mean,
you're
it's
like,
like,
if you're an attentive game player, you can find like letters and
yeah,
postcards and pictures, and like they really do the best to like flesh out these characters. Like this isn't just like aimless war without consequences. These are people.
yeah, these are people, and they'll have backstories. And like when you play as Abby and you're walking through, I don't remember the name of the stadium. It's the Seattle Seahawks Stadium, whatever they're called
Oh.
in the Last of Us universe, but Soundview Stadium or something. Like everyone's just milling about. They're talking about Harry Potter. You know, there's people who work in the, you know, I walked through I'm like, oh, that would be my job. I'd be working in the garden as a farmer. These are just people. Like there's teachers, there's class, there's kids, there's
Yeah.
students. I'm sure there's families. It really
And these
builds
are
the
like
world.
all of Ellie's story is leading you up to like not like these people, to really want to destroy them.
Yeah.
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 I was gonna ask, because you describe in your writing, you say that Joel is not a villain or a hero, but he's a man broken by the worst thing imaginable. And going back to what you were talking about, like the actual definition of apocalypse, right? Like we watched Joel experience his own personal apocalypse, which is a stripping away or a revealing. What would you say, like, what is revealed to Joel, or what illusion does Joel lose first in his story?
What illusion?
Yeah.
Obviously the most like visceral one is, I mean, the illusion that like the systems in place are there to protect us, um like the social contract, the you know, the people who, you know, I'm not going to sit here and like, this isn't about like being in the military or being a cop or something, but like the people who swear to protect and serve, like the people who dedicate their life to a cause, or like it goes out the window in like an hour, where
Yeah.
someone on a radio says, shoot this person, and like the person there to sworn to protect the citizens of the United States, shoot a girl, and well, try to shoot the dad, but shoot and murder a girl with a twisted ankle or a broken ankle, in the name of what? Because someone on the end of a radio told him to. Like so like this social fabric that holds together society. I think Joel instantly learns that I mean, it's hanging by a thread, right? Like it's almost an illusion, because the minute something bad happens, apocalyptic, is the minute they like murder, like, well, no, murder a teenager.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I mean, obviously it thrusts him into 20 years of just whatever he did in those 20 years. Probably, it sounds like terrible shit. Basically, like, yeah, I think it's hard because like your identity is tied up with the people you love, your kids, your parents, your spouses. And when you lose that, I don't know, like you lose your whole identity. You don't know what you'll become.
Yeah. It is a kind of death for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's scary, right? Like that facade that in an instant, like the very structures that you trust to protect you could turn on you and take away everything.
Yeah. That's frightening. And it's honestly, it's not as like sci-fi as I think a lot of us want to believe, especially people from my world who are primarily white, who are, you know, upper middle class, something like that. Like this, experiencing this story for them is like, oh my gosh, what if this really happened? Whereas a lot of our neighbors, people of color, are like, hello, this is happening to us currently right now.
Yeah.
Where the structures that we're told are meant to protect us are not looking out for our best interests.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like how many, black parents have had to deal with that with their kids, like getting shot by the police, and those are the people who on all their cop cars to protect and serve, and you're like,
Right.
yo.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you, so it's like part of the zombie convention, I think, for the infected or whatever the term is used. The
Mhm.
you know the actual zombies are not the scariest, most dangerous parts of the story. They're kind of like a tool.
Mhm.
Um, you write that in The Last of Us, the real horror comes from what becomes of us, quote, what becomes of us after the collapse. Um, what do you think Ellie and Joel reveal about humanity as it exists in that vacuum of systems? Like we're talking about that social fabric just disintegrating. Like, does morality become a luxury?
Um, I mean, I think morality it's I think you said it earlier, like you alluded to it, like it's almost, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misinterpreting what you said, but like it's kind of subjective. Like it's it has to be attached to the context, right? Like, um, because even if there's objective morality, I don't know, we can't approach it objectively.
Right. Because Abby would say one thing and Ellie would say a different thing.
And
Is that
yet,
what you mean? Like that
ironically,
context?
yeah, I mean, like what is what would justice be in any of these situations?
Right.
Like Abby, kills Joel. What would justice be? Like, what would justice be if Dr. Anderson sacrifices Ellie and they don't create a vaccine,
Mm,
or they become the power broker now, the Fireflies. Like we assume the Fireflies are going to save the world,
right.
right? Like just like Boromir was going to save Middle Earth with the ring.
Right.
It's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no one believes that he would have done that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah, everything is approached from your own perspective. I mean, Ellie, as someone like Ellie has never known the old world, so called, right? Neither would Abby have. Dr.
Right.
Anderson, I don't know how old he is, but he looked fairly young, like he would have known it, but not to the extent of Joel, who was probably much older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and that might change, like that changes your perspective. Like, so I think it's hard for us to admit that even if there's an objective morality, we can't approach it from anywhere but subjectivity.
Yeah. Yeah. Context
Like
is critical.
I don't know. Like I don't know. Like how would you achieve justice in that world? Justice for Joel.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what, like, everything that I can think of starts to resemble that cycle of violence. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
same. I mean,
Yeah.
because but then the other side, if Ellie was just like, well, there's nothing we can do about it, and everyone in Jackson's like, yeah, agreed, and they go on with their life, is there justice for Joel? Can it even
Right.
be achieved? Because can you even strip that away from the decisions he made to
Right.
kill? I mean, is there justice for Dr. Anderson? Well, does Dr. Anderson even deserve justice? Because the number one oath you take as a doctor is do no harm, and you did not get consent to operate on someone that assuredly would have killed them.
Yeah.
You never got consent. And even Marlene, like, is there justice for Marlene? She said Ellie would have wanted it as if you couldn't have asked her.
Yeah.
So even Marlene is like, oh, you never even asked her? And you have the audacity to tell, or to tell Ellie's mom, who is dead, but through that voice or that recorder,
Mm-hmm.
that she did the best she could. Like, no, you didn't even ask her for consent, as if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And she, in that, I went and looked up the transcript because I remember when you were doing the playthrough, you were
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck, this
Oh, I
memo,
was
like this voice
pissed.
memo. Yeah. And I was like, I haven't done part one in so long. So I went and looked
Yeah.
it up. And it's also full of like, maybe excuses this is the right word, but she says, like, I gave the go ahead to proceed. I really doubt I had much of a choice. Asking me was kind of a formality. I need you to know that I've kept my promises all these years. Like, it reeks of guilt. Like, it
Oh yeah.
reeks of the self-awareness of like, this is wrong. And
Yeah.
all you're doing is trying to find some type of like excuse or something to ease your conscience. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's wrong.
Yeah. And a justification like, oh, well, I'll go tell Joel, he deserves to know. That, like, that's going to clear her of her guilt of it. Like,
Right.
well, at least I told Joel,
Yeah.
which you
Mhm.
probably shouldn't have done, but
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
came back
it
to haunt her.
kind of bit you in the ass there, Marlene.
Yes, yes. But she thinks, yeah, she really believes. She says, "I'm not gonna kill the one man in this facility that might understand the weight of this choice." Like, she's almost looking for her salvation in him. She says, "Maybe
Mhm.
he can forgive me." And his love is
I
just too strong for that.
I don't think she recognizes that. Because the Joel she knows is the hardened Joel
Right.
who doesn't, it's just cargo, right? As Ellie's called at the start of part 1, it's cargo. And so even if there's some things you go through to get here, you're still just seeing it as cargo.
Mhm.
And Joel is like, no, this is actually a surrogate for Sarah at this point.
Right.
Like he can't lose another daughter. Like he can't. And if he does,
Yeah.
he's gonna end it for sure.
Right.
Like
Right.
he would kill himself, I'm certain.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that bites her in the ass because, like, oh, what you don't realize is that he's got such a connection with Ellie now that it's no.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. How many times have you played part 1?
Oh, my daughter asked me that sarcastically a couple weeks ago. Maybe 6 or 7, I don't know.
She's giving Ellie a little bit, the stories I've heard.
My daughter?
Yeah, does she have kind of the same vibe?
In a lot of ways, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Um, about the same age too, 14, 15. She's 15 now. I've played part 1 maybe 6 or 7, maybe part 2 this is my 3rd time. What about you?
Okay. And I have only, I think maybe twice. So not as many. I think I'm more familiar with part 2. But
Yeah.
after writing about it, is there a part in part 1 or part 2, but is there a part that like really hit you differently after writing about it?
Um, yeah, there were let me think. Oh, the David stuff stands out. Like I was
Yeah.
really focused on that. The playing through the first, I mean, you notice the theological stuff but after writing about it, you really notice the Calvinism in him.
Mm,
And you also notice the predatory nature of him, and he's very much a narcissist. He's very much a predator. That hit like I really, and especially writing about that, I really wanted to lean into like the fact that like you might not be like David, a cannibal,
right.
but like a lot of people have the same theology. A lot of people have the
Mhm.
same view of God, where everything happens for a reason, where God is kind of like a divine chess master. And I feel like the worry for me is that even when good people believe that, like you start to justify really shitty things,
Yeah.
because your God becomes either complicit in evil and suffering, um, directly or passively,
Mhm.
and it just creates like I think what all theodicies kind of are. I don't know. As I write in the book, like there's better ones than others, but they all kind of fall short. That's kind of like the absurdity of suffering. But his
Mhm.
his is just so absurd. Like, and then it made me really remember like how many Calvinist friends that I had throughout the years, and just like they were all like seem like decent people, but their theology just led to some horrific shit.
Yeah, yeah, and I do like the cannibalistic, like, motif because that worldview does view people as things to just, like, chew through. Like,
Hmm.
you're viewing people as, like, I don't know, it's just a fucked up way to view other people, the people that are around you. It's a very consumeristic kind of, like, your humanity is kind of lessened, like, you're just something here that's kind of like a side piece for me to do
Hmm.
whatever, like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I as far as like the game itself though, I forgot part 1's really fun, in terms of like the gameplay, but part 2 I don't know what they tweak. I know they tweaked a few things you could dodge and you could do but like the levels are just set up in such a fun way. I just forgot how fun the game is.
Yeah.
Like some of those like chase sequences when you're in the car with Jesse, or you're like right before you find out that Jesse is there in Seattle, like you're sneaking, at least the way I played it this last time. Like then all of a sudden you're just like, fuck it, I gotta start running, because you notice there's people coming from everywhere, and then you're in the house and they're trying to smoke you out. It's such a fun game. Like if you like, yes, the story's heavy, but like I told you off the camera, I think yesterday, or texted you, was like if I could just play over and over different levels, it's just they're set up so fun. Like the game designers
Yeah.
are fucking genius.
Truly. And the replay I feel like is just infinite because there's so many
Infinite,
different ways that you could do stuff.
infinite. Yeah. And I like that. I don't know if they intentionally did this, but like the documentary is called Grounded, and I know like the hardest level is called Grounded, but I feel like the gameplay mechanics, like sometimes you play like a game and you're kind of like floating on the like above the ground. Your feet don't ever
Mhm.
really touch the ground. Like there's not a lot of weight to the like there everything has weight in The Last of Us. Like the interactions between the NPCs, when you're either grabbing them, when you shoot them in certain ways, like
Mhm.
the you hit them in the knee, and then the clickers will get hit down, but they'll still crawl at you, and there's just everything is very attached to the earth that it's on.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I felt that way too. I love that. Dang, this makes me want to do
I
maybe a
know.
Thanksgiving replay. It's so fun.
Yeah. Part 2 is just so long. It is so long, and not in a
It's
bad
long
way.
and
It's just long.
yeah. Yeah. And I feel like it's more emotionally taxing because you're hit with Joel like right off the bat and it just goes
Yeah.
it's just one thing after another.
Yeah, because even in part 1, it's heavy, right? Like, it's definitely not a light game, but there's more of, like, who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and even though that's a
Mhm.
little bit ambiguous because you don't see the Fireflies as bad guys, and at the end, you don't even see them as bad guys, really. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't when I even when you're mowing them down in the hospital, like, I don't feel animosity toward the people who are, like, the soldiers or whatever. Like, it's really Dr. Anderson, that motherfucker.
Right.
But it becomes really blurred, and like there's really no one to root for in number 2. You're just rooting
Yeah.
for it to stop.
Yeah.
At least
Mhm.
me, like I remember the first time I actually put my controller down during the last scene in Santa Barbara.
Mm.
Like I stopped, and I just coincidentally stopped when it goes to the last cut scene, because it's just like I don't want to do this. Like
I know.
I
And you're
don't.
set up like so often in part 2, like part 1 is like a buddy story, right? You're
Yeah,
watching kind of like the redemption, not redemption, that's such a loaded word, but you're kind of like watching the rebirth maybe of Joel. Like you're watching him come back
right.
to himself and come home.
Yeah,
Part 2, you're watching the opposite. Like you're
right.
watching Ellie, this cute foul-mouthed little girl that you've just
Hmm.
grown to love. You're
Right.
just watching her become a monster and it's heartbreaking. And I mean, like, I don't know. I often wonder, like, what is the story saying about hope?
Hmm.
Like, is there because even like you're saying, like the Fireflies are this beacon of hope so much in part 1, and like we're invested in that, and then Ellie is like the embodiment of that hope, but the closer and closer and closer you get to that to the zenith of that hope realized, you're
Yeah.
realizing the cost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think there at least ends with some hope, right? Like I have hope that Abby and Lev, that there is like some folks on Catalina, right? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
it's kind of implied, like they're not going to show up there and there's no one there. Like right, I don't think that's the way but I guess it's possible. Like, you don't really know, but there's hope. And there's even hope when Ellie walks away from the farmhouse. Like
Mhm.
I don't know what that hope is. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, and I don't know if there's a part 3, so maybe we'll never
Yeah.
know. Um,
I hope
do you
there's a
do you
part
think
3.
do you think there will be?
I mean, I feel like just even from a practical standpoint, Naughty Dog would be idiots
Yeah.
not to.
I'm terrified of what it would be.
I mean, I'm terrified of them botching it, like taking the, you know what I mean? Like, having these 2 solid chapters and then number 3, like, that would be devastating if it just didn't.
Like it's The Godfather. It's just like part 1, part 2, and then fuck.
Yeah, like, don't do that to me. Ugh, yeah. But I still, like you're saying though, Lev and even like Dina and Jesse's kid, like, or Dina and Ellie's kid, like, I
Yeah.
feel like that is what it is. And but is that like the continual trap that we fall into as we invest? We like Joel invests in Ellie's generation and Dr. Anderson invests in Abby's generation, and then you watch it disappoint you, and then
Mhm.
but then they invest in the next generation. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's what they're saying about hope, is that it's, I don't know, it's kind of cyclical and
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah, and do we like why do we need to know what happens next? Like, right? Like, um,
Are we hoping that it will make it all worth it?
I think we're trying to justify like this whole thing, right? Like we're trying to, but nothing would make it worth it. Like
Yeah,
it's never worth it. Like what happens in part 2 is not worth it.
right. And there's nothing they could put in a part 3 that would
That would
make the loss of Joel worth it.
right.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean that maybe the right from a financial standpoint, definitely make it part 3. But maybe the right thing of the story is to not. I don't know. I'm not trying to say I wouldn't play it. I would pre-order it tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I
Same.
don't care if it's coming out in 10 years. I'll pre-order it now.
Mhm.
But maybe that is what they're saying. Like, I think to continue the story is just for us to maybe continue to like look for that justification of like, well, at least it ended like this. Dina comes
Mhm.
back to the farmhouse and Ellie's finds a great therapist and works through her PTSD. And, just if they make me watch her die in part 3, though, I'm going to be like one of those cowboy fans who crashes out and just tears my TV off the wall.
Yeah.
What happened? Did your team lose, Matt? No, Ellie fucking died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. That would be that, and a lot of the show viewers did the same thing after Joel. Like we were talking
Yeah.
about, there was such a like a drop off of viewership
Oh,
after
yeah.
Joel.
Yeah. But I wonder, I don't know, was there any game? Do you think there's any gamers who first played it with no spoiler? The problem is that a lot of spoilers came out when part 2 came out and there was that whole ordeal. But
Yeah.
do you think they lost gamers who, I feel like
I'm
gamers would be more dedicated to the franchise than, it's like
Yeah.
Tolkien fans who just watch the movies. It's like, well,
Right.
okay, you
Yeah.
weren't
I was
really
gonna
there.
literally, yeah, I was gonna equate it to like book people too. Like
Yeah.
readers are, because you invest so much time as a
Yeah.
gamer or a reader in a story versus someone who sits
Yeah.
down for, just to binge a show.
Yeah.
And I mean, my brother and I, we found out that Joel, like we somebody spoiled it for us, but we still
Mhm.
like were like, no, we want to know what happens. Like,
Yeah.
how could we leave it there?
That is such a bold fucking. I mean, I try to think of other franchises that would do something like that, where you play an entire game, like you brought this girl across the country, saved her from all this shit, and yes, you play as Ellie, and you reciprocate some of the saving, but you majority of part 1 you're playing as Joel. And I
Hmm.
find like even playing as Ellie in part 1 is not that fun because you're playing as someone with no skills, right? Like you like fighting melee combat sucks when you're Ellie and there's all these fucking zombies around you. Like you got to just run.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you, and then for them in the prologue, I'm trying to think of a parallel. I mean, I know people were mad when you played Red Dead Redemption 2 as Arthur, but it wasn't like at the expense of John dying. And then you realize, oh, Arthur's like one of the most beloved characters in all gaming. Um, but they didn't kill one to make you play the other. Like this,
Right.
I think that is probably the most bold move in all of video game storytelling. It's like in part 2, we're just gonna, how about we start off by killing the main guy? Like what?
Nuts.
You're
Yeah.
insane, dude.
Literally. Have you heard anything about like when they pitched this concept? I wonder
I
if there was pushback.
I don't think there was. I think they get into it in the Grounded 2 documentary.
Okay.
Um, and I think everyone was upset, but then I forget the woman's name. She was one of the main writers. She was like, "No, I hate it, but it's the right It's the right
Mhm.
thing for the story.
Yeah.
Because I think the Last of Us universe, like, I think what it does right, which is probably why some people do hate part 2, is that it's not going to give you it's not gonna make the protagonist like some sort of superhero.
Right.
You know, like, oh, they can't die because like even in like with Stranger Things coming up, I'm like, well, there's certain characters that you know can't die.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna kill off a lot of them, honestly, though.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think it's gonna be devastating. I don't know if you're a Stranger Things fan.
No, for
Um,
sure. Yeah.
but I'm like, oh shit, that's gonna be brutal.
Yeah.
But I feel like narratively, like they're just not. They're just not. But with The
Mhm.
Last of Us, I think that universe is like, no, it doesn't like sorry, spoiler, but like the way it shows you like you do all this stuff with Jesse, all this shit. Like you get to know him. He's a good dude. And then he walks through a door and gets fucking like you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and for
Like,
such an utterly
what?
realistic, like,
Right.
just he's there and
The
then he's gone.
universe does not like it doesn't care. Like it doesn't matter what your backstory is, doesn't matter how much you're beloved. Like you walk through a
Mhm.
door, same thing, and then same thing happens with Manny. You're not, I don't think you're as close to him. He's funny, but I don't
Yeah.
think like Jesse has more pride in like I mean Dina's kid is from Jesse, like
Mhm.
there's
Yeah.
more investment, but same thing. Like you open a door and Tommy takes him out. Like it's like
Yeah. Mhm.
Jesus
He just walks into a
Christ.
bullet. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of like you're talking about the unveiling, the, like, literal sense of it, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that this story does really well, and unfortunately, the tearing away that has to happen is people from people. Like, it
Mhm.
starts with Joel and Sarah, and then it's he's faced with that again with Joel and Ellie, turns that down, but then it happens with Ellie and Joel is torn away. And like it's just person after person after person. And it never doesn't hurt.
Right. Which is just so it's so terribly ironic because we need community. Like we need
Right.
people. We like and doubly ironic, like after the initial outbreak and the chaos of that, like people could have gotten together and created communities and worked together to probably eradicate all of the infected. I mean,
Mhm.
like just don't get bit. Like we all
Right.
can do this. Like eventually we can eradicate that and it's like no, we become the very things that prevent us from peace and harmony and wholeness. Like we are the things that
Mhm.
we need for peace and harmony. You can't be Bill,
Right.
right? Like there's no life in that. There's no what's for Bill, like what's the point? Unless you
Right.
really love just survivalism as a RPG
Yeah.
in real life.
Yeah.
Like, but most people no, that you stripped of your humanity in that. So like you need people, but then they
Mhm.
become the very thing that is like I'd say more catastrophic than except for the Rat King. Gives me legit
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah. As far as like the factions go, because like you have in part two, you have scars, you have fireflies, like you have these different like ways that people do kind of organize into communities, but
Mhm.
they are infected, no pun intended, by their own, toxic ideology or whatever it is. Which one do you think is the most frightening?
I think oh, they're all frightening for it. I think the potential for the fireflies to be the most frightening because they're the most, I think, true to like people with a noble heart trying to do the right thing. If they get the vaccine, I think they become an absolute fucking monster.
Hmm.
Like I think um as but as far as part two, like as far as like actually playing the game, the scars
Okay,
terrifying with the whistles and the sneaking, and all of a sudden you're hit by a silent arrow. Like that shit
that's
terrifies me.
scary.
Like it's
Yeah.
scary. And then the religious and the disemboweling, like that. Like if I were thrust into that universe, I'd be most probably scared of the Seraphites. All of a sudden
Hmm.
you see people disemboweled hanging there, like in the name of like what is the saying? Feel her love. Like that shit is
Yeah.
creepy. That's creepy as fuck. Like feel her love. It's like ugh.
Truly, truly.
As a
Yeah.
body's hanging there with their Yeah. What about you?
I don't know. I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that the Fireflies, although I will be honest, I wrestle with comparing the Fireflies and the Wolves. Like I
Mhm.
wrestle with like what is the difference there? Is there a difference? Like is the thing that makes the Fireflies the most potentially terrifying, is it that drive to like find the vaccine and be the power, like a authority over
Mhm.
that resource? Like I don't know. Because when you play Abby that first day, like where you're at right now, like you really feel like, hey, they kind of got their shit together. Like they've got this little school and the kids and the gardens and the stadium is such a great idea just conceptually. Like that's where I'm going if some shit goes down, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I
You
agree
almost
with you. Go ahead.
I almost see him as like Western colonialism though too, because like it's not like the Seraphites are necessarily indigenous. I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of white folks in there too. Like it's Seattle residents, right? Like,
Hmm.
but it kind of takes on that. You've got the primitive tribe that doesn't use modern technology in the woods, and they have their island, and you've got this kind of Western power type, like Western adjacent, right? Like you can't really call
Yeah.
them Western now. It's just kind of the post-apocalyptic world, but they read Harry Potter, and like I said, and they go to school and they do all those sort of things. But you're like, they're at war with, they're trying to wipe out these people, right? Like, but when you go back to it, right, like the WLF were fighting the fascist Fedra.
Right. Yeah.
And then and we see in those scraps that you were talking about, those scraps of paper and the letters, and you find out like, no, that's exactly what happened. Like they had great intentions and they were fighting against a fascistic regime. And then I forget who says it, but someone writes that they became worse than Fedra. They became more
Right.
authoritarian.
Which maybe that's like a hint for the Fireflies, you know, that's like
Yeah.
a like this is kind of the inevitable life cycle of these communities. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. The Rattlers, I mean, they have their own agenda, but it's all, but, but I understand it. Like, I, I, I understand how those things happen. I understand,
Right.
like, if you're born into it, if you're Abby, if you're a former Firefly, or you're Owen or any of them, like it's just the way it is. Like you're there to protect this community. This is the only community we know. Like the people in the stadium, like I mean, it's not an excuse. It's, oh, they're just doing their job. But
Right.
it's almost like, what is the way out?
Mhm. And I think that's such an important question right now because I think we all in different ways live in our own little, you know, Seattle stadium. Like we all have our
Mhm.
little groups and our little factions, and there's always someone who is like, we're not allowed to love that person, or we're not allowed to whatever. And I mean, that's like at the core of Abby's story. I feel like is this kind of dismantling that you watch her go through from being like one of the prime warriors, one of the people that is the most bought in,
Yep.
to leaving it all for just one kid.
Right. Yeah. And the one kid, I think, almost becomes a stand-in for just like freedom itself. Like it's just one
Mhm.
kid, but that's all it takes really. Like why, like if you're if you hate whatever group it is and then you meet someone who proves otherwise, like you realize like you can't hate a whole group of people because that whole group of people doesn't even agree with each other. They're not even
Right.
the same. Like
Yeah.
in Lev's own community, Lev is trans, and that's not allowed in the
Right.
Seraphite religion or whatever. Like, so he's a heretic. He's kicked
Mhm.
out of his community. And so
Yeah.
you realize like, oh, it's a lot more complicated than that. And Abby's having her own internal struggles with the WLF, and
Mhm.
um it's very complicated. So when we adhere to these factions, we adhere to this group or that group at the expense of others. I think we run into that that realization that, oh, it's not so simple.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think this is super super valuable because at the end of the day, it's not the it's not the opinion necessarily that's so dangerous. It's the fundamentalism about the opinion, whatever it
Mhm.
is, like whichever side you're on. If you've got that like fundamentalistic kind of dogma, like there is no other way, there's no room for nuance. I can't like that group of people is a monolith, and I'm okay to
Mhm.
hate them because I can just label them bad guys or whatever. That's what at the end of the day is just so terrifying and so damaging.
Mhm. And yet so default in us.
Yeah, so easy to fall into.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
almost have to unlearn that.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, yeah, I think Last of Us shows us that, like, a lot of good art does, like, and then how do we apply it to politics? How do we apply it to foreign policy? How do we apply it to
Mhm.
religion? Um, and how do we constantly we always have to look for those ways in which we're being fundamentalists
Right.
and really break out of that because that's so limiting and so harmful.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not a one and done thing for me, at least I'm finding this is like a continual thing, like a continual, pursuit of liberation, which I think that the characters in this game show that as well. Like, they're constantly having to unlearn something if they're moving if their arc is moving towards, like, their best selves. Like, obviously, in part
Mhm.
2, Ellie's kind of going the opposite way, but, um
Yeah.
yeah, she's kind of delving more into that. Like she's holding so tightly to what she believes because without it, what does she have?
Yeah. And but she can't see it, and she's like, what she could have is pretty much everything,
Right. Mhm.
like, and it's sad that I mean, like, her whole identity, I think that's why the lie is so big when Joel lies to her, is like her whole identity
Yeah.
is in like this one thing, this very one specific thing. I was created to be immune to this fungus for the purpose of sacrificing myself for the greater good. And it's like, I don't think that's how it works. Like, actually, you were made just to be a kid.
Right.
And some fucked
Mhm.
up shit happened. And like, you, for some reason, became immune. I guess in the, I don't know if it's canon for the game, but at least in the show, Ashley Johnson plays Ellie's mom, who plays the voice of Ashley or Ellie in the game.
Right.
And it's because she's bitten and then gives birth to Ellie. And um,
Oh,
I,
okay.
yeah, that's how they do it in the show. Like Ellie's mom's running and gets bit right before she's about to give birth.
Okay.
And, or like even right after, like the umbilical cord is still connected or something. And then so they cut it really quick. So somehow that gives her immunity, right? Like is almost worked as a vaccine, like, I guess.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, cool, that works. I don't know if that's canon for the show, or for the game, but it works, it fits. Because I don't think they
Yep.
ever tell us why Ellie's immune in the game.
Not in the game. Yeah.
Not in the game.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I fell off the show. I don't know. I'm
It
not,
was
I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to like
I
yuck
don't
someone's
either.
yum, but I just love the
Yeah,
games too much.
I did too. And I felt like no matter what, it wasn't gonna live up to the game, and
Yeah.
that was no knock on them. And I did feel like, I mean, I like Bella Ramsey. I
Mhm.
just I don't like the show's Ellie.
Yeah.
Um, and I felt like, yeah, yeah, I fell off in season 2. I watched season 1, I liked it. I didn't love it, and in fact, a lot of the, things that people loved about season 1, I didn't like. Like, everyone loved episode 3, it's like the Bill and Frank story, which they changed
Yeah.
up, and it's a great little vignette, but I was like, "This has nothing to do with the actual major arc." Like, it's just like,
Right.
and they did 2 episodes like that. They did a whole episode of Left Behind, which I love. Riley's, I mean,
Oh,
it's tragic, but I love that sequence, and I love that backstory. But there was like, it was like a 8-season episode, and 2 of them had nothing to do with the main arc. So you really
yeah.
only had 6 episodes of the actual story, and so it really kind of like, you had episode 1 and 2, and you're getting going, and then you have Bill and Frank for 3, and I was like, okay, cool vignette, but doesn't really drive the story further. And then you had 2 more
Mhm.
episodes, and then you had Left Behind, and it's like, okay, it just really, I didn't like it. I didn't like
Yeah.
that stop and go stuff.
Yeah. No, I feel it. It's such a fast-paced story. But
John says, yeah, I think in general shows wouldn't live up to the games because the game is more immersive, if that makes sense. Yeah,
100%.
did you ever play Red Dead Redemption?
I watched my brother play a lot of it.
Yeah, I wonder how that would be as a show. It'd probably be the same thing though. I just love the game so much, especially Red Redemption 2. That is like
Mhm.
I don't know how they do a show. I like adaptations. What are your feelings on adaptations in general?
I'm a snob. Again, like, I don't wanna yuck somebody's yum. I
Yeah,
love that there's a lot of people that, like, come to a story through these adaptations, but
yeah,
I'm usually a purist. Like, I'm,
yeah,
super into, like, the Red Rising books, and there's a
mhm,
big push for an adaptation of some sort, and
yeah,
I'm just like, "N it's not gonna don't do it." Like, it's not gonna be good.
don't
Just
do
read
it.
the books. Just
Yeah,
play
but
the game, you know?
someone's just like money, 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 money.
Oh, for sure. It'll be, like, the next big franchise for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like that too, especially when it comes to like Tolkien. Like I obviously really, really enjoy Jackson's films, but they're are they canon? Like I'm sure I get maybe, but I don't even know. Like, are they? Or are they just a really good
Yeah,
adaptation? Like
right.
it doesn't add anything to the actual story, and the things that it doesn't get right, I'm not gonna
Mhm.
choose that over the actual books.
Yeah.
So I'm great with it as an adaptation. It's probably the best one yet for sure,
Oh, you
but
don't think Rings of Power is good?
it's 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 slightly below average fan fiction is what I'd say. It looks pretty
It's
because it has a lot of money put behind it.
a lot of money. Yeah.
But if you
Sh
give anyone a shit ton of money, they can make something look pretty.
Right.
But it doesn't actually. It's like episode 7, 8, and 9 of Star Wars. It's like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
it looks amazing. I mean, I mean, what would you change about how it looks? But
Right.
it doesn't actually pay respect to the lore. Like my daughter's a huge Star Wars nerd. And I say that as affectionately as possible. And like we're watching the Clone Wars together. And it's like 7 seasons of like 31 episodes each season. It's like this is like
Wow.
deep lore shit. There's like 3 episodes in a row of how a Padawan builds a lightsaber. Like just makes
Wow.
one. And then in episode 7 you have this former stormtrooper just pick one up and actually beat or like get the upper hand on one of 2 Sith lords in the entire universe. And you're like, "Oh, that's not even possible in George Lucas's world. You can't just pick up a
Mm.
lightsaber and defeat a Sith."
Yeah.
Like that's stupid. That's like someone taking Aragorn's sword and like beating him with it.
Mm.
Like it's just like stupid.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty and no one cares. So they make a bunch of
Right.
money.
Are you guys, like, Andor fans?
Yes, she actually we're going through it. She actually hasn't watched it yet. It was like,
Okay.
she's 15, so she will watch the whole thing. But yes, were you?
Yes, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not usually a big Star Wars nerd,
right.
but I feel like the way the storytelling in Andor, like, I
Mhm.
feel like that's really what's missing. Like, to your
Yeah,
point, like, it's the heart, this the story that is
right.
often botched, and it's like, okay, it's really pretty and you have a really great soundtrack and yada,
Yeah.
yada, but you don't the story is lacking, but I feel like with Andor, um,
Andor, yep. Rogue One,
they're
same
really
same
yes.
thing.
They're really saying something that's very relevant, that resonates a lot right now, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really hated, like, going back to Star like, I it's like they could have made that whole arc work. They could have had this, like, former stormtrooper who leaves the Empire and has this connection to the Force, and he's able to
Right.
and they could have done that whole and they got, like, halfway there, and then they just never completed the loop. It was just like, "Oh, he
Mm,
just randomly can beat the shit out of" there's only allowed to be 2 Siths in the entire universe, and so he beat one of them just randomly by picking up a random ass lightsaber. What the
right.
fuck? Like, again,
Yeah.
I'm a snob. I'm like you. I'm like, I will die on this hill.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it brings the power. It's like it doesn't make all of a sudden, like, I don't even remember. I watched season 1 and I believe like the stranger is Gandalf. I don't know if they ever completed that story, but then he came in on a comet, and I was like, no, he came in on a ship.
Right.
Like that's not how it happened. Like, why are you? So this is fan fiction, right? Like, why are you just? Are you doing it so you can deceive us, like so that those of us who know the story are tricked now. Why are you doing that? It's just annoying me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a bummer. And it's not like there's not a plethora of Lord of the Rings nerds that they could have tapped into. Like they wouldn't have even really had to do the research themselves. They could have
Well,
been
they
like, hey,
did. He walked like they had Tom Shippey, who's like one of the world's foremost scholars, and I think Shippey left after like 2 weeks. They
oh,
didn't. I think they didn't listen to him.
yeah. I mean, yeah, probably.
It was like, no,
Obviously.
we're here to make money. Like, go fuck
Yeah.
yourself. And he was probably a stubborn, you know, purist like you and I would be, and
Mm-hmm.
rubbed him the wrong way because it's Amazon. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
but just if you want to make a story, make a story. But like,
Right.
why? Yeah, like, I don't know.
I don't know.
John says, I think it's impossible for an adaptation, whatever format, to stick religiously to a source. Yeah, I think I agree with that to some extent, but I think you could still live within the spirit of the story. Like I would say Jackson's films belong in Middle Earth, even though they left out Tom Bombadil and the Scouring of the Shire.
Right.
But it didn't like Rings of Power doesn't belong in Tolkien's universe. It just write a
Mm-hmm.
different story. Just create your own world. Don't be lazy. Create your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think season 1 of the show of Last of Us, it lives within the Last of Us universe. I'm not sure if season 2 is just not about Ellie. Like it's not her.
Yeah.
it's just not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And it's true that different formats have different limitations. Like you're
Yeah.
going to be able to do, like you're talking about that groundedness of like the feel of the game. There's no
Mhm.
way to replicate that in like a
Right.
show or whatever. And
Right.
same thing with like when you're reading a story, there are some elements that just because that is the medium with which you're, intaking the story. So yeah, I mean, I get that point too.
Yeah. And every medium, yeah, you gotta change some things. Like I was talking to my mom recently. I was like, well, like let's think about like the Sermon on the Mount. Like I don't think there's any reason to believe that like one time on a Tuesday Jesus gave one sermon that is now called the Sermon on the Mount, right? Like
Right.
what realistically probably happened is he gave those kind of sayings over and over and over in a bunch of
It's
different
his stump
times.
speech.
Right. Like, and then whoever's going to write the gospel's like, okay, well, we can't just make that the story. The story's never going to get there. We got to give
Mm-hmm.
it that he gave this one sermon and people were listening. Like, and I get
Mm-hmm.
that. It's like, we got to tell this story in such a way. Like in the film adaptation of The Lord of the Rings, Frodo doesn't leave the Shire for 17 years. That doesn't work in a film. Like, it just
Right.
doesn't. Like, you can't have like 17 years later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you got to make it like seem like, oh, the Black Riders are here and we got to get out right now
It's
because that's
urgency.
urgency because this is a film and we're here in the theater for 3 hours. So
Right. We're already running long.
yeah, there's already 9
Yeah.
endings to Return of the King. Like we gotta
Yes.
skip one of them.
True.
So you got to adapt that. John says, I think the premise of a movie's producer's premise, for example, is the story would look good on screen if this was yada yada. I'm not following what you're saying, John. Sorry. The story would look good on screen if
Like the movie producers thinking only of the visual format, maybe.
right.
Like that
Yeah.
that is primary. They're not thinking about other elements. They're like, this is what it needs to happen, and this is blah blah blah, which is probably very true.
Yeah, and it's fair. But that's again why I'm like, I was never super excited. My wife is really excited about The Last of Us because she loves Pedro Pascal. But and I won't fault her for that.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I guess I was just I was like, I don't know, when you're just such a fan of something, it's hard to beat the original. Like I'm excited, I guess, for The Hunt for Gollum because Peter Jackson's making it, and I think Ian McKellen's going to return, but it's not like, I mean, it's not going to like, oh shit, that was surprising. Like I learned something this like by watching this, or I learned something new. It was just gonna be like, I hope they don't fuck it up.
Right. I feel like I'm in the place now where even if they do like show something new, I would be like, is that right? Is that
right.
canon? Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in a receptive, like, oh, I learned something. Like I would be like, show me your work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'd be nervous about like my daughter and I have like, I think if you did it right, an amazing Yoda backstory would be incredible.
Yeah.
But I feel like, well, Disney's just gonna fuck this up though. Unless
Yeah.
they do what they do with Andor, like give it
I
to
was gonna
someone.
say,
But I don't even
give it
think
to those writers.
I was thinking, I was like, yo, did Disney greenlight this? Did they even know what they were gonna write in Andor? Because it seems like it's like, damn, that showrunner just had freedom to say whatever the fuck they want.
And they're spicy. Like it is
Oh yeah.
thinly veiled.
Yeah, which is great,
It's
but
awesome.
atypical generally.
Yes. Very surprising.
But it just goes to show you though, like look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. Like people love that show for a reason. And it's not because it's exciting. It's
Right?
not like action packed. Some episodes
No.
it's a slow burn.
Yeah. And yeah, season 2, especially, I was like, there's kind of some throwaway episodes in here.
But people they're desperate for story. They're desperate for a good story. And anyone at this point, not anyone, but anyone can make, a J.J. Abrams film at this point. Like
True.
with CGI, even with AI getting to where it is, like,
Oh, yeah.
you can make shit look any kind of way, really. But can you tell a story?
Yeah.
We'll end on this. Have you ever had the pull to write a fiction in any kind of way?
I actually am working on my first fiction manuscript right now. Yeah. And it's kind of like a fan fiction actually, which is makes it just dumbs it down. But I love like Longmore and James Percival Everett. I love these takes on classic stories that are from a different perspective. So I'm trying to do that with A Christmas Carol.
Oh, cool.
Which I feel like is one of the most powerful stories of our of our Western culture. But I feel like it's lost its teeth a little bit. Like we watch Scrooge and we're like, oh, we think about our dads or our grandparents or our bosses, or like we don't really think about ourselves. So I'm trying to tell the same story from somebody else's perspective and hopefully get back a little bit of that bite.
Yeah. I'm in that way. I love fan fiction actually. I just don't like when fan fiction masquerades as canon.
Yeah.
Like going back to the Rings of Power, like that would probably, it would look at itself as canon when you're not allowed to write stories in the Middle Earth universe because it's not public domain.
Right.
But you have a bunch of money, so then you get to.
Right.
And so, but if we all get to write fan fiction, then great. Let the greatest fan fiction go to the top, and we all realize we're just reading fan fiction. We published a book, Mr. Bingley, and it's set in the Pride and Prejudice world, right?
Yeah.
And so Brandon Dragon, one of our authors, he's big in that. And that's a whole world I didn't even know about. Like,
I mean that's Longbourn. That's Longbourn too. Is the Pride and Prejudice from the perspective of the help in the house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's a whole world though. Popular.
Yeah.
Some authors are really popular in that Pride and Prejudice world, and I didn't know until he was like, "I'm going to write this." I was like, "Okay, is this?" He's like, "No, this is a thing." Like,
yeah,
people are serious about their Pride and Prejudice.
It's true. So he wrote it from Mr. Bingley's perspective?
I think it's not like the same story. I think it's a story set in that universe about Mr. Bingley.
Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I would be happy to send you a copy of his book.
I'm definitely a Jane Austen girl, so.
Oh, are you? Paperback or Kindle?
Oh, I am a Kindle person. I always whisper it.
I'll send you an EPUB file for your Kindle. You can decide.
Thank you. Oh, that's so fun. Happy birthday to me. Not my birthday, but feels like it. I love new books.
It is today.
Thanks.
Again, Lauren, what's the title of your book? Tell our listeners so they can check it out.
The book I released in May is called Tiger in a Lifeboat. And it has a very long subtitle, which shame on me for not remembering. I believe it's Deconstructing Faith, Discovering India, and Deciding to Trust Again.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I would encourage folks to check that out. And then my book with Lauren writing the forward, it doesn't come out till April, so you got some time.
I can't
Um,
wait.
I can't either. My editor said so far it's good.
It's so good.
Thank you. I felt like I had the most fun writing this that as I've had writing in a while.
Mm.
And it was really, it's really cool when you don't know what you're going to write about and then you like get passionate about something. You're like, I think that's
Yeah.
what happened. It's like I've gotten burnt out on writing about theology and things like that, and it's kind of like, what's my next thing going to be? And I was like, man, I
Mm.
just love this game so much, and I played it so many times, and like, there's so much there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so rich.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to release it. Yeah. So if anyone knows Neil Druckmann, if they can get that to him, I'd be happy. Give me his email address. Let me know. Get an endorsement maybe. And yeah, check out Lauren's book. And thanks for listening to Heretic Happy Hour. And we'll see y'all shortly. I guess on Tuesday we have an episode coming out. I think that's how it goes on the show.
Nice.
All right. Later. Thank you.
See ya.